Isn't it? The Sun's calling it hell on earth, the Mirror barbaric. It is one of those situations where just when it was so difficult, so traumatic for the people of Afghanistan already and their desperate quest to get out of the country, and then this happens.
Well, those people at the airport.
Group deaths in the months leading up to this, and then all of a sudden, because of the decision that was taken that he said was to protect US lives, actually this has been the consequence. And you then wonder, well, what is going to happen? Masters Festival in Cornwall, there was a big spike. Latitude Festival, there was a big spike. There seems to be something particularly about these events where there's a lot of people mingling together, aren't they, in close proximity?
Yes, absolutely. Morning. So,
the AstraZeneca vaccine set to be binned at the end of the month when they expire. That's the GPs across England are furious because they haven't been sent abroad for those people who desperately need them. So what's going on with this situation?
This is really worrying.
Good morning, Britain. It's just gone 6:30. Welcome to the programme. Well, it feels anything but a Friday before a bank holiday weekend, doesn't it, Charlotte?
I know. We're all looking forward to sort of being able to celebrate that. But unfortunately, it's desperately sad news from Afghanistan concerning these two bomb blasts that have happened. More than 90 civilians killed and 13 US personnel as well. And there are some heartbreaking stories in the newspapers today about those who've been affected. There was an interpreter who talked about a baby girl who he'd picked up and tried to take to hospital to save her, and unfortunately she didn't survive. Just heartbreaking for all those people who are obviously facing a difficult enough time trying to get out, to have been caught up in all of this, and the difficult situation of trying to get those casualties to hospital as well to be treated. And unfortunately the number of those killed does keep rising as well. We'll be speaking to the Defence Secretary, Ben Wallace, later on in the programme to find out the latest from the scene. But, of course, we heard there President Biden saying that he's planning to hunt those responsible down and make them pay. So we wait to see what further action will be taken as a consequence.
Yeah. We're joined in the studio by editor of...
How much the reaction to President Biden and what's happened is going to change at home because of this press conference that we saw yesterday. And, of course, you know, it had been relatively peaceful, hadn't it? There hadn't been any US desperate mission to try to get his staff out, his animals out. They were right there at the airport, and we've been keeping across the progress of him. He's tweeted overnight to say the whole team and dogs and cats were safely 300 metres inside the airport perimeter. But Michael Nadine, thanks very much. This also coming up later in the programme. Stay with us, lots more still to come. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV. Hello again. Now, the Paralympics, and Tully Kearney led Britain's gold rush yesterday, winning in the S5 100 metres freestyle, her second medal of the Games. The swimmer smashed the world record by over 2 seconds.
The 24-year-old, who was born with cerebral palsy and developed neurological condition dystonia in her mid-teens, already won silver in the S5 200-metre freestyle on day one. And I'm pleased to say she joins us.
OK, competition time now. Andy Peters has got all the details on how you could win £80,000 and a brand new car. Morning, Andy.
Good morning, Britain. It's just gone 7:06.
Now, our main news this morning, President Joe Biden has vowed the US will hunt down those responsible for the suicide attacks near Kabul airport and make them pay. At least 90 people are thought to have died, as well as 13 US service personnel. Speaking after the attacks, Mr. Biden again stood by his decision to withdraw from Afghanistan, saying it was time to end this 20-year war.
Well, let's now speak to our correspondent.
And the Defence Secretary this morning, not everyone has been able to be evacuated during this process. They say they are going to try to find a few people in the crowds where they can at Kabul, but that evacuation handling centre at the Baron Hotel has now been closed. We'll be keeping an eye on the latest developments and update you. That's the main news this morning. Here's Richard now with the rest of the day's news. With the gold medal, don't we? You know, puts a spring in our step. Here's hoping we're going to do well. Richard, thanks very much for that. We can now talk to Dr. Amir Khan because, of course, you know, as well as everything that's going on in Afghanistan, there's still lots of talk in the newspapers about everything.
OK, still ahead on Good Morning Britain, from politician to Strictly Star and now...
News, travel and weather where you are. We'll see you in just a moment.
Put butter on toast when you've got something else. I've just requested some toast with Nutella. Other brands are available. But I like butter first.
But Richard, you were saying, why would you have butter and then
Nutella,
a spread?
as a product, is made of oil. So there's a lot of oil on...
You go for the double.
I will, don't worry.
Well, listen, it's time now for your last chance to be involved in today's Free Crash Friday. Andy has all the details. You know all the tips. Andy, thank you very much for that. At 7:22 and still to come this morning, after yesterday...